All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep, really deep, into one of those really foundational texts of Hindu scripture, the Brahma Purana. We're talking about a text attributed to, well, the creator himself, Lord Brahma.
Right off the bat, being one of the 18 Mahapuranas, that kind of tells you right there, this is a big deal. It's not just like one story among many. This is a major, major pillar.
Exactly. And even though the name kind of focuses on Brahma, what we found out from the sources, it's not just about creation, right? I mean, you've got geography in there, you've got Dharma, which is like righteous conduct and duty, rituals, philosophy, even how to achieve spiritual liberation. Like, this is a whole worldview.
It really is.
Right.
And attributing it to Brahma, it kind of shows you how foundational this knowledge is, this sacred wisdom. But of course, these texts, they were compiled, transmitted through generations, all these wise folks.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're dealing with here, right? We're talking over 10,000 verses. That's a huge undertaking. It just kind of shows you the breadth of knowledge that's being shared here.
It does, yeah. That sheer volume, it allowed them to really dive into all these different parts of life, the cosmos, all of it.
Yeah.
A repository of understanding. Been around for centuries.
And how they share this knowledge is really interesting too, right? These dialogues, mainly between Brahma and these sages like Narada. It's like we're eavesdropping on these deep conversations.
It's a great format. The dialogue, you get these complex ideas coming out, these questions and answers, different perspectives, Narada, he's always the one searching for truth, bringing that out.
And what's really interesting, too, is, it's called the Brahma Purana, but there's a lot of focus on Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. It's not like it's just all about Brahma. So there's a bigger theological picture here.
Absolutely, a much bigger picture. Yeah, creation is central, sure.
Right.
The Brahma Purana, it works within this larger understanding of the divine, right? Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva, the transformer. It all points to this interconnectedness, the multifaceted nature of what Hindus call the supreme reality.
So for you listening, think of this deep dive as us, extracting the core insights, the main takeaways from this huge ocean of knowledge. Creation, yeah, but also how to live a good life, the importance of sacred places, maybe even some cosmic truths that are still relevant today.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to distill the essence. What's at the heart of this ancient text, the wisdom that still speaks to us today, perspectives that maybe you can use in your own journey.
Okay, so let's define it a bit more clearly. What is the Brahma Purana, in the context of Hindu scripture? Where does it sit?
Well, as we said, it's one of the 18 Mahapuranas, so right away, it's one of the major texts, really important. And even though it's called the Brahma Purana, remember, it covers a lot more than just creation.
Yeah, it's like when a university is named after the founder. Their vision was important, sure, but the university grows, right? It covers all sorts of disciplines. And the Brahma Purana, over 10,000 verses, that's a testament to just how, encyclopedic this work is.
It is, yeah. That length allowed them to really go in depth on Hindu cosmology, philosophy, laws, rituals, all of it. It's a guide to understanding the world, your place in it.
And the way this knowledge is passed down, you have Brahma, usually talking with Narada, who's always asking the good questions, but also other enlightened sages. They all add to this tapestry of wisdom.
And those interactions, they're really important. Those sages are like catalysts,
Yeah.
They ask these questions that prompt Brahma and these other wise beings to reveal these deeper truths. So even within the text, it's a dynamic learning experience.
And, I gotta say it again, even though it's the Brahma Purana, Vishnu and Shiva are very much present throughout the stories. It emphasizes that idea of interconnectedness in the Hindu understanding of the divine.
Exactly. It's the Trimurti, right?
Yeah.
Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. It's a dynamic interplay, creation, preservation, transformation, the cyclical nature of the cosmos, all part of the same reality.
Okay, let's get into it. How does the Brahma Purana actually explain the origin of, everything? Let's talk creation story.
Okay, so like many Hindu scriptures, it starts with this primordial state before creation, right? The unmanifest Brahman. Pure consciousness, no form, no characteristics. It's the potential for everything. Everything comes from that.
So this boundless, formless source. Okay, so how does that become the world, the stuff we see, we experience? I guess this is where Lord Brahma on the lotus flower comes in.
That's right. Brahma emerges from this lotus that grows out of Vishnu's navel. The imagery is really powerful, right? Lotus, purity, creation unfolding, all coming from Vishnu, the sustainer of the universe.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a strong image. The universe blossoming from this, tranquil source. And then Brahma, he actually shapes the world, makes the elements, all the beings, even time itself. What's the word for that? The actual act of creation.
Srishti, the initial manifestation of the universe. Brahma, following divine will, he brings forth all the levels of reality. From subtle energies to the physical forms we see, he starts the cycles of time, everything. Now, our sources mention this interesting twist. Brahma, the architect of the universe, he has a moment where, well, he loses his humility. A bit of ego creeps in. What happens then? This is important, big teaching moment. Brahma, he's created this incredible universe. He starts to feel a little too important, a little proud. So to counter that, to remind everyone, including Brahma, of this ultimate reality, Lord Shiva appears.
And this appearance, it's described as this like infinite pillar of light, right? Just radiating out.
The Lingam. Shiva as this unbounded column of light, stretching forever, no beginning, no end. Brahma and Vishnu, they can't even grasp the limits of it. It humbles them, shows them the vastness of the divine.
So not just a cool story. There's a lesson here for everyone, even the creator.
Yeah, a big one. Humility, no matter what you achieve, where you are in life. It reminds us that there's always something bigger, something beyond our understanding. Even us, we're researching, learning. It's easy to get attached to what we think we know. But there's always more. So intellectual humility, it's important.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit from the cosmos to Earth. The Brahma Purana talks about Bharatvarsha, ancient India, as this sacred land, not just, a piece of land. It's got this spiritual importance.
Absolutely. The Purana really goes into detail, describing Bharatvarsha as this holy land full of spiritual power, really connected to the divine.
And they specifically mention the Ganga and Saraswati rivers. What makes them so special, spiritually speaking?
They're goddesses, embodiments of purity, spiritual power. Bathing in those rivers, it's a way to cleanse yourself physically and spiritually, connect with the energy of the land.
And beyond rivers and mountains, they talk about specific temples, too, like Puri Jagannath, the Konark Sun Temple, and they mention others. These aren't just historical sites, right?
No, they're energy hubs. Places where divine energy is really strong, like nodes in a network, focusing spiritual energy. You can think of them like the Earth's chakras, points of concentrated energy.
So the Purana, it's not just describing, it's actually telling people, go to these places, pilgrimage. What's the point of going on these journeys?
Pilgrimage is spiritual practice. It's about purifying your mind and body, gaining spiritual merit. You go to these places, you experience their energy, you deepen your connection with the divine.
Okay, so we've got creation, we've got sacred places. Now, how do we live in this world? The Brahma Purana is big on Dharma, right? Living a righteous life. What are the main teachings there?
Dharma is all about duty, responsibility, ethical conduct, the natural order of things, doing your karma, your actions, without being attached to the results, no ego, no personal gain. That's how you live righteously. It's the path to liberation. It's not just about what you do, but how you do it, the intention behind it.
Doing your duty without selfish motives. And we're in Kali Yuga now, right? This age that's supposed to be pretty challenging. Does the Brahma Purana say anything about how to live righteously in these times?
It does, yeah. It emphasizes compassion, simplicity, serving others, devotion to the divine. These are the antidotes to all the negativity that's supposed to be stronger in Kali Yuga. Like simplicity today, it's not just about stuff. It's about simplifying your focus, what you pay attention to, getting to the heart of what matters.
It's amazing how relevant those things still are. Compassion, simplicity, service. These ancient principles, they're like a compass in our crazy modern world.
That's it, exactly. The world today, so much confusion, materialism, ethical problems, right? The Brahma Purana's teachings on Dharma, they give you a framework, a way to align yourself with truth, live with integrity and purpose.
Okay, now for the fun part. Stories. The Brahma Purana is full of amazing stories, and they all have these deep lessons. Let's start with King Harishchandra. Who was he? What's the takeaway from his story?
King Harishchandra is all about truthfulness, unwavering commitment to truth. He went through so much, lost his kingdom, his family, everything, but he would not give up his integrity.
Yeah, and there's that famous line he says, I can give up everything, but not my Dharma.
That's powerful. It's like he gets what's truly important, right?
Yeah, he does. It's about the supreme value of truth and righteousness, no matter what life throws at you. Dharma is not just rules, it's a guiding principle for your whole life, even if it costs you everything. Makes you think, What wouldn't you compromise on no matter what?
Okay, another great story. Savitri and Satyavan. Not just a love story, right? It's about devotion, willpower, even challenging fate.
Right. Savitri, her devotion, her strength, her faith, they're incredible. Her husband, Satyavan, he was destined to die young, but she confronts Yama, the god of death, brings him back to life. It makes you think about destiny versus free will, that seems to be a recurring theme in the Purana.
Yeah, love and determination conquering death. That's a powerful image.
It shows you how transformative love can be, loyalty, spiritual strength, overcoming obstacles that seem impossible. Now, beyond individual stories, the Brahma Purana also talks about these big cosmic cycles of time, the yugas. What's the point of knowing about these huge time scales?
So the yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali, they're like stages in the evolution of human consciousness, how much Dharma there is in the world. Each yuga, righteousness declines, negativity increases. It's like this cosmic ebb and flow of history, spiritual awareness, Satya Yuga, harmony, truth. Then it goes downhill from there. Knowing this, it helps us understand the challenges, the opportunities we have in Kali Yuga, our current age.
So it's like a framework, right? We can see where we are now, how to live according to Dharma in this particular time.
Yeah, exactly. We know the characteristics of each yuga. We can see the big picture, navigate our lives better, even with all the crazy changes happening in the world.
Let's talk about today. What can we take from the Brahma Purana practically for our lives now?
Lots of wisdom, really relevant stuff. One thing is spiritual discipline. In our world, so much distraction. The Purana talks about meditation, rituals, charity, inner purity. This is how you find peace, grow spiritually.
Yeah, so important today, right? To be able to quiet the mind, focus.
Absolutely. And how about our connection to nature? The Brahma Purana has some interesting things to say about that, too.
What does it say?
It says respect nature. Rivers, trees, animals, they're all sacred. Manifestations of the divine. Very relevant now with all the environmental problems. It's about recognizing how connected we are to nature, how important it is to protect it.
Like, this ancient wisdom is speaking directly to us today about the issues that matter most.
It is. And ultimately, the big message, it's about the temporary nature of our material life and the eternal nature of the soul. We should focus on our spiritual growth, not just worldly stuff, because those things don't last.
Makes sense. Okay, and something else we noticed, the Brahma Purana seems to be pretty respectful of the divine feminine. What's that about?
Definitely. It recognizes and honors the divine feminine. Lots of emphasis on Devi worship, especially Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity, and Saraswati, goddess of wisdom and knowledge.
So not just a male-dominated view of God, the feminine is just as important, just as powerful.
Exactly. And there's this great saying, without Shakti, divine energy, the feminine principle, Shiva is Shava, lifeless. You need both, masculine and feminine, for life, for consciousness. It's about balance within the universe, within each of us.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, as we wrap up, what are the final teachings, the reflections from the Brahma Purana? What's the ultimate goal of life?
Liberation, moksha. Transcending the ego, going beyond our limited identities, merging into the divine consciousness.
Breaking free from the cycle of birth and death, realizing our true nature. And there's a promise, right? If you engage with this wisdom, there's a benefit.
Yes, it says, those who listen to or recite this Purana with devotion, they'll grow spiritually, be free from bondage. The power of these teachings, if you approach them with an open heart, devotion, it can transform you.
So it's not just about understanding it intellectually, it's about faith, contemplation.
Exactly. The Brahma Purana, it's not just knowledge to be learned, it's meant to be lived, to guide you on your spiritual path, help you break free from the limitations of the ego.
Wow, this has been quite a journey. The Brahma Purana, it's amazing how this ancient text, these stories, these teachings, they still speak to us today. It's not just history, it's living wisdom.
It really is. It's a guide to understanding creation, how to live a good life, the purpose of it all. Amazing stories, deep philosophical ideas.
And we hope you listening, this deep dive has made you curious, maybe inspired you to explore your own spirituality, learn more about Dharma, or just appreciate the wisdom of the ancients.
We encourage you to think about these teachings, how they connect to your own experiences, what you want in life.
And before we go, one last thought for you to ponder. We live in a world that values achievement, success, material things, but maybe this ancient focus on Dharma, on inner work, maybe that's a better way, a more fulfilling way to navigate our complex world. Something to think about.